Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity. I do apologise if my mic was not working correctly there. Now I've got my overlight head on today. Head. Yeah, I might have my overlight head on. I've got my overhead light on. It's very dark outside and a wee bit windy, so I think I can definitely say there will not be a video tomorrow. There's likely to be a video on Monday, and I will just have to continue with Eiffel store on Monday. Right, so what are we doing? We're doing the snow globe, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And I know I haven't poked that bit out there, but I've already been trying to be organised, cut some cardstock out, and you can see, you just, do what I do and get your bits out. You can just pull them out like that, and it does cut beautifully. So I'm going to do some watercolouring, and I've got my scruffy mat, and I've got 3 cuts of that particular globe. So I've done it in craft because I want the base section, and I've also done it in this print, which I don't know if you can see that. It's the Carter Bella Very Merry Christmas pack, and this is the night before Christmas. You get the full script when you print it out. So I want the base of that, and I've got it in white watercolour cardstock, which is the cardstock from Walmart, which is lovely and cheap. And obviously that needs to be poked out, and it comes out. I'll show you now. Just tease it gently, just waggle your cardstock, that is a whole piece I believe, until it drops out. There you go. So we've got a whole piece, and that's our backgrounds. We're going to keep that. And then of course I've got my little bits to poke out there. Right, so first up, this bit, and I know I can just go in with my scissors at the moment and just chop that completely out of the way. And the way to get a nice finish when you kind of fussy cutting something out like this is that I want it in different colours, but you can see the background snow scene here, the hills are kind of, merged into the whole thing. So I'm just going to take my die, I'm going to place it down, I'm going to find those top notch points there. I'm going to get my pencil, I hope that I've got it straight, and if not, it doesn't matter. And I'm just going to go along there with my pencil. And now I've got a line that's, in its curvature is in tune with everything that's going on beneath it. And I can just go along there and cut that out now with my scissors. So that's what I'm doing. I'm tilting it towards myself, otherwise I can't see. And if you've got a little bit of pencil hanging out on that bit, it doesn't matter, because we're about to put another layer on. Do you see? Its curve is just in tune with the rest of the die. So it's always better to use a template like that than try and, make it up yourself, if you know what I mean. So there you have it. Now you've got your snow scene, but I don't want it in craft. But I do want those little craft bands to stick out. So I'm going to use my script over that. And you can see the craft will show through. But as you know, this isn't correct. So the next step for the base is to get your glue. Yes, get your glue, she says. Ah, yes, I found it. Oh dear, me and my professionalism never fails to stun me, or anyone else for that matter. I'm just going to go and pop off and grab a needle because it's bunged up. Yeah, but I can tell you some good news. I did completely manage to clear all the pots and stuff out of my garden and all my hanging baskets, so I'm not going to have anything blowing around. Right, I'm just going to poke this and I'll be back. Right, so I've now got a flow of glue, and I'm going to go all the way around the edge like this, just to be able to quickly do the base, go in between those bits. And then I'm going to get my lovely night before Christmas piece, and even though it's not trimmed yet, I'm going to pop that on the top. Now I'm hoping upon hope that that is straight. and that I've just got my brown bit sticking through. Yeah, I've got it up towards me. Now I think I might need a bit more glue there actually, and it's okay, you can just wiggle and fiddle, just push it out of the way, and whoops, and you can go under there and you can clear out any excess. I just tend to wipe glue away with my finger, so no fingernails here, just push that out of the way. I'm just going to put a dot of glue in there, and then I'm just going to smooth that down. Right, so the next thing to do is, so you don't have to poke your glue bottle again, just put the lid on. Yeah, that's a professional tip. Always put your lid back on. Right, now if we flip that over, you can see where I need to cut, and it is getting darker and darker. So I'm just going along there as best I can. There. Now that's all trimmed up. And what I also intend to do for that is just go around the edge, and I hope I've got a little bit on here. So just a little bit vintagey with a little bit of black oxide distress on the edge there, just to define it a bit. And I do apologise if I've got everything shaking. Right, so that is the base of the globe, and that's all done. And if I hold that up, you can see you've got your lovely script, you've got your little bit of brown showing through. Now that doesn't need to be fastened down because that is going to glue onto there. So that's the base of our globe. Now our sky scene, very, very easy to do. So if I pop that there, in fact what I'll do is I'll get that bit of fluff off because it might have black soot on it. And we know that the sky is going to look, you know, a little bit icy and a little bit cold. So I've got two shades of blue here. I'm using my Tombow markers, and these are colours 451 and 452. And I'm just going to scrub the lightest shade down onto my mat. I've got my water brush. I'm going to have a squeezy of water there, so it's going to look really pale. You may not even see it show up, but that's just priming it for the background. You always got to prime your watercolor paper, and I know it makes it, you know, go a bit curly, but it does go flat when it's dry. Right, so we've primed our background there, and now I'm going with my darker shade. I'm going to scrub that off there and do the background. You'll see just how quick this is, really. So you're just drizzling your bits in to get that really frosty, cloudy sky. It's quite nice that it comes out in a whole piece. And just drip your bits and let them all drip together. So that is pretty much that for that. But as I said, you know, you just don't have to be too fussy. Just as long as you've got your frosty sky in there. Right, so I'm quite happy with that, and I'm going to pop that off to the side to dry. Right, I'm just going to pause while I get some kitchen paper. Right, so I grabbed a sheet of that, and you can see there are still small pieces here that need to be poked out on these birds. So you need to get rid of those bits before you go any further. Because if you watercolour and then poke, you could be left with a lot of interior white edge, if you know what I mean. So we've got the little bit between the legs there. And, you know, my guess is this is holly and berries. Well, it's a Christmas theme, so that's what I'm going to make it. And my birds are going to be American robins, I think, which are pale blue and red. So first up, I need to get my water brush, and I am going to prime those. So I'm just gently putting a little bit of water onto my birdies so that they're ready to go. And actually, while I'm at it, I'll do everything. And then we're going off here, which is the trunk of the tree that they're on. Now, I do want to leave my globe edge white. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is go in and do my red. So this is quite a bold sort of cherry red, and it's number 755. So I'm just going to pick some of that up, quite neat actually, and just go in and do what I think are berries first. I mean, it would be nice actually to touch these up with glossy accents, just so that the berries are shiny. So I'm doing that bit, and while it's quite watery, and I put a little bit of water down there, I'm just going to blend that out a little bit more, and I'm going to do just the breast of the bird. And I'm actually going to dab that off. I want it to be really pale. I mean, you can do it however you want to, but I just want mine like a suggestion of colour. So I've got rid of that. And then, of course, an American robin is red and blue, whereas, of course, the British robin is brown and red. So I'm getting my blue into there, and I'm just going straight down. And I can see that there is a little kind of bit under the chin that I need to do, and that needs to be done in the red. Now, I don't, care if I miss pieces when I'm doing stuff like this, because they often end up on journal pages and things like that. I mean, obviously you can turn this into a shaker and it can be put onto a card. So I've got my little red cheeks under there. And I'm going to dab that off again. There. And now I'm going to get brown for the beak. And that's the nice thing about using your Tombow markers, is that, if you're not very adept like me with a very, very tiny paintbrush, let's hold that still, then it's a lot easier to use a watercolour marker that's got a fairly fine tip. So I'm going to go and do the beaks. And I'm also going to do the area that would be the legs. You can see I've got a bit of pink there, but that's okay. And then we've got the branches. Now, if I just flip that around, I'm looking at what colours I've got here, and I think I'm going to mix the two browns, which are 992 and 947, and I've also got two greens. So I'm going to do my green first, and then I'm going to go in for my brown. So I'm going to say all of this here is greenery. It doesn't have to be greenery. You can, make it whatever you want it to be. You could make it brown if you've got a couple of little tiny ovals. You could turn that into a nest and put eggs into it. You can do whatever you want to do. And then I'm going to dot some darker green, and then I'm going to get my brush. Now I need to clean my brush out because, whoops, as you can see, I've just squeezed it and it's loaded up with pink. So just work your colour out of your watercolour brush. And then I'm going to put a little blob there on the mat and just double those two together. Kind of a mottled shade of green. Right, so now I need to do my branch. So I'm going to do my branch in the palest colour first. I'm just going to go in and colour it, and I'll be right back. Right, so I've got the pale shade down, and now I'm going in with the darker one that I showed you, and I just want to put that kind of to the base, methinks. Maybe a little bit there, a little bit darker under the feet, maybe a little bit more there. And then I'm going to tickle it with my water brush, just so that I've got a nice mottled looking branch. Just pull some of that colour. I spin that around. You can see just how easy it was. I mean, you know, it's almost finished. Right, I'm just going to let that dry, and I will be right back. Right, so all of those things there are almost dry, and I'm using a fine liner. This is a Copic multi-liner 0.5, and it's waterproof, which is good, even though these are dry. And I just want to give my birds a little bit of an eye. I'm only touching down really gently, so it's just a tiny little eye. And now we want to put it together. So first up, you can see that we've got a whole piece here, and this needs to be able to slot back in. Now, if you're popping this onto a card straight away, then you can glue it down like that, but I'm not. I actually intend to use it like a dimensional element. And what I should have done is kept my pieces that I poked out, but that's okay, because I can just put white cardstock or even use some glitter back there. But you can see how the sky has popped back in. But, you know, to hold it together, you need to flip it over, get your pieces back there again, make sure everything is fitted together correctly, and you need some tape. So I've got my double-sided tape here. And this one is from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to hold that bit because that's accurate there. And then I need to be able to hold the centerpiece, so I'm going to go right the way across there to hold that bit in, and then I'm going to need a bit around the sides just to hold that globe together. So quite literally going there. Then you can pop, you know, your foam pads or whatever. Obviously it's going to be quite concealed, so no one's ever going to really know what you've got going on. And if you find you're going too close to the edge, just hold your tape up, trim that bit off, and then that little bit can go there on the birdie's tail. Now I'm going to put a piece in there just to hold that. I tend to piece stuff like this quite a lot. I quite enjoy it. It's very easy for me. And anything where you think, you know, there might be a weak point. Now you can, of course, go and get a small piece of cardstock that will just fit into that area there, and then you'll be able to gather up all of your little bits and just pop them back in. So it's not like you have to cut the whole die again. I'm also going to do this bit end to end, and then that's going to overlap, so I'm just going to trim that off and pop those, and we can flip it over so you've got all your pieces back in and they're just not going to fall out or go anywhere. Right, next up is to pop this on. so that that's completed, and then you've got your snowy area. So we can go in and we can put tape down and stick it down. Just going to move that out of the way. And I'm choosing to put the tape right where those stripy bits are, because I don't want them to fall out at any point. And then I'm also going to use some wet glue. So I'm just going to go around the edges. A bit across there. Now I'm going to peel the backs off. And position that over here. Start off with one edge so that you can see if you're straight or not, and press down. So we've got that lovely edge there. Right, now that's an element that's just, I'm sorry that it's so dark, but that is an element that is just ready to go straight onto a card or a tag or whatever it is you want to do. And if you want to add more definition, you know, you can be brave, because mine is kind of like vintage style. That's the way I want it. Then you can just go around the edge with a little bit of ink. I used to be really afraid of introducing black into Christmas-like things, but I'm not anymore. I quite like it. And I quite like the use of yellow at Christmas too. You know, to kind of brighten and happy things up a bit. So, you know, that's a little bit distressed now, but I'm looking at the clock and I can see I'm running over, and I'm just hoping I'm going to have electricity to upload this, because anything over 20 minutes on YouTube will take 5 or 6 hours to upload, and that's on a normal day, you know. Now I've got some stickles, I've got platinum, and I think what I'm going to do is go into those little spaces that should be filled. So it's kind of like snow on the branch, but also filling that gap. I've got another gap here. I'm going to go there and there, and that will settle itself. And then I'm going to glitter just the tops of my branches, maybe a little bit on the berry, to the leaves as well. Why not? I'm going to have a little bit of frost on my birdie. As I was saying, you know, a couple of weeks ago, I've got lots of bottles of stickles, and if I'm ever going to be able to buy more, I need to use up what I've already got. So I've got some stickles in there, which should look quite cute when it's dry. And I'm going to go off down there as well, because when you get your stickles out, you just got to get carried away. And I'm also going to do my snow line. There. And that is what I have got for you today. Now, if anyone is, you know, stuck in the path of this hurricane, I do hope that you'll stay safe and that everything will be okay. And for those of you who aren't, I wish you an absolutely awesome weekend. I know it's going to be a stressful weekend for some, but, you know, I still hope you can find some joy in it. And hopefully I'll be here on Monday. Let's hope I don't fly away. Right, I thank you so much for watching. Really, have an absolutely awesome weekend, and I'll be up on Monday as usual. All links below. Bye.